Hello and happy holidays! This is Jazzy, filling in for the guys at Dropped Culture, where they bring back a bit of pop culture that you might have forgotten about, shine it up, and cram it in your ear holes. In the spirit of the holidays, we're taking a break. I promise it's not you. It's Santa. And so we can spend time with some family. So, this week, we remastered Big Trouble in Little China. Punch it, Chewie!
I'm Brock, you're Mitch. That's Dan over there.
Yeah, I am.
Yep, I'm Mitch.
Are we going to do this podcast?
Quite good. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning is for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
I want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
To start it off, we're talking this week,
Big Trouble in Little China.
Hold on, I gotta change that.
That's a pretty evil laugh. Yeah.
Whoa.
You got bass.
Actually,
I can have a lot of fun with this one.
What was that? Oh my god, that sounds really cool too. On our podcast, it's
Big Trouble in Little China.
That worked so perfect.
weirdly enough.
That was so perfect. Well, last week we were talking about Buckaroo Banzai.
Yes.
Across the Eighth Dimension, which was another cool fucking badass movie, right?
Agreed.
We'd seen, and you can hear all about it on our last podcast because it's fucking awesome. We decided to go with Big Trouble because it kind of fits with W.D. Richter. He wrote the script. There was an original script from two other dudes.
Correct.
And then he came in and doctored it and made it better.
one of the few times that actually worked.
Oh my god, he made it even cooler than the original idea was. And you'll hear all about that one tonight.
Anytime you edit, though, you know, anytime you have somebody come in and go, I'm going to change up things, you're like, oh god.
Everything
happens very often in Hollywood, actually.
And sadly doesn't. Oh, you mean succeeds?
Succeeds and fails.
There's sometimes like 50 writers for a script.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they'll only give like 2 or 3 people the actual credit for it.
Right.
Which is crazy. You know, some people fight for it, some people don't.
Well, that's in your contract. If you're going to be a writer and you want a byline on it, like as a creator or writer or whatever, you've got to work that in the beginning.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys do that because it's quick money. They can go in and work on a script and then jump out and go there. They don't have like a contract necessarily.
That they're stuck with doing it. Yeah.
Right.
They can just come in and add a line like Kevin Smith does occasionally on different things. Everybody kind of comes in and adds their own things to projects, which is cool. And this one was a major overhaul because from everything that I read, the original script was everybody said it was bad, but that's what it says on the internet, so who do you believe? It was probably pretty cool. It was cool enough to almost get greenlit.
But it was a different setting.
Cool, 100% different. Yeah. And then they updated it. The way that I heard it, they kind of used Rosemary's Baby as a model. Okay. You know, the way that they made that, the way that they updated that movie and everything like that for the time. So this one came out in 1986, but it's from one of my favorite directors too.
Of course.
John fucking Carpenter. Carpenter has got some of the coolest fucking movies ever. And I think on the Mount Rushmore of directors, he's up there.
Especially if you're talking about the feeling of true 80s movies.
In the feeling of just
has it nailed.
Pure movie.
Just pure adventure.
Yeah.
Like
for this movie specifically, you're absolutely correct. But for a lot of other John Carpenter movies, like he captures suspense, he captures horror.
Everything about that movie, and it's a John Carpenter movie. You know, as soon as you hear the soundtrack, or as soon as you
that's because
see his
he does a
name
lot
on
of
it,
his own music.
Yeah, did you watch the video for this movie?
No.
Holy shit, it's fucking badass,
music video?
dude. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Big Trouble.
Little China.
Dude, it's fucking awesome too. He's playing a little Beatle bass.
That's
and,
awesome.
and they're sitting watching the dailies, I guess.
Didn't
or
you
whatnot.
just get one of those?
No. I was thinking about it.
Oh, yeah. You never got that one?
No, no. I don't want to spend the money.
No, I don't blame you.
But, I mean, he does everything with it. And, I mean, this was his last major Hollywood movie before he kind of got out because they tanked this movie. They fucked it up.
Yep.
Came out in 1986. Again, 1986, one of the greatest years for fucking movies. 1985, 1986, that, again, is going to be like... That's the year that everybody looks at movies.
I think a bigger portion of that is that they didn't know how to market this movie.
No.
You know what I mean?
What did you
Because,
do?
Well, and there was some
You pay a
edits
lot
later
more?
in the movie after it was filmed to help drive. And I don't know if we're going to get into that later or now, but there were some edits in that movie to drive Jack Burton as the hero,
But he wasn't.
to be able to market it. In fact, there was like a whole scene in the movie that wasn't in the movie
That they
right at
added.
the beginning
Yeah, they added that scene, you know, the very beginning.
where he's in the truck.
Well, no, not in the truck. Is whenever Egg Shin's talking about Jack Burton, he's like, "You leave Jack Burton alone."
Yeah.
You know, and he shows him the lightning.
No, tell us where Jack
So
Burton
I
is.
actually read the opposite.
because it's supposed to start with him on the Pork Chop Express driving, and that was going to be the beginning.
So I had read the opposite, that portion was added in to make Jack Burton more of the centralized character of the
Protagonist.
movie. And that the beginning part was supposed to be the beginning.
Well, the beginning part, it was what I read. It was added the exact opposite.
So we don't know.
So we don't know it.
I'll have to check my sources.
Yeah, but I think because I read like I don't know 15 different.
Yeah,
web pages.
same here.
Yeah,
So it's almost like the anti-hero is being set up with that beginning scene.
he's a sidekick.
But you would still want to know he's the
not
hero.
necessarily an anti-hero.
Okay.
He's Robin. And
He doesn't seem like an anti-hero.
That's what
yet.
John Carpenter said too, and because I got the Blu-ray too,
Yeah.
and in their commentary for it, they didn't really notice because the studio didn't get it.
Right.
Just like the line that my favorite line in the whole movie is like, "We are not put upon this earth to get it."
Yeah, that's so true.
It's fucking so awesome whenever the Lopan says that fucking line. That makes the whole movie.
And his voice is so high and screechy too.
I'll talk about my favorite Lopan quote later.
Oh God! How much cocaine did he do having pinky
Oh
nails
my god!
that
Did you
long?
see it grow too?
Dude, it was like
It
weird.
grows and his fucking
Okay, wait,
skin's all
we're
different. Okay.
digressing.
But the beginning and the I don't know, just the whole story arc because Dennis Dunn,
Yes.
the guy that played Wang,
Yes.
never did any kung fu. That role was originally for Jackie Chan.
Right.
Supposedly, he's in one of the fight scenes too.
Okay.
He's in the Wing Kong and the Wing Kong and the Chang Sing.
Yeah,
he's in that.
okay.
He's supposedly in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I paused every single scene last
Didn't
night.
find
It was
him?
like, nope. Son of a bitch. Where's he at?
So I had also read that this was originally set as a Western.
Really?
Yeah,
Dude.
that was the part of the overhaul of this. And I figured this is a good time to talk about it because we're talking about the base
Right.
script at this point, and
The fundamentals.
the fundamentals of the movie.
1890 to 1899, somewhere
Yeah.
in there. San Francisco, Old West. Jack Burton was looking for his horse instead of his truck. That's what W.D. Richter did. He took all that good idea, the Chinese ghost story. Chinese ghost story Western. What the fuck, right?
Right.
That'd be kind of crazy,
Right,
Yeah.
right, but they updated it and made a Chinese ghost story with a truck
In
driver.
Chinatown, with a truck driver that is like the most stereotypical truck driver.
Yeah, he's
ever.
John Wayne in the truck.
So let's talk about Kurt Russell's character for a minute.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So that makes a lot of sense, though, right? Coming from a Western where a guy's looking for a horse, now he's a truck driver. Probably the closest thing to a cowboy. You know, he travels wherever he wants. And
Right. Roams the country. Yeah.
whatever, on his fucking steed.
And his
Whether it's
favorite
the
thing,
Pork Chop Express.
you know why they call it the Pork Chop Express?
No.
Because he's hauling pigs.
That's right.
Yep. He's hauling pigs.
He's never hauling anything. The whole movie, you
Well,
never
he
see him
did
hauling
at
anything.
the very beginning when he
Was
was
he?
driving down that road.
That bridge and everything?
Yeah.
So my thought is this: that as much homage as this actually paid to like the Chinese mythology,
Yeah.
that it also took like what was a stereotypical American male to the Asian culture.
Oh yeah.
And made him one of the central figures.
He was a fish out
Fast
of water.
and the Furious,
Yeah.
Tokyo Drifting. Sorry.
He was totally out of place, and he was just like thrust in this whole world. Which it seems like everybody that he knows all of this folklore. 'Cause they're like, Chinese got a lot of hells, Jack.
And all of
That was
them
a
are
great
perfectly-
line by Eddie, by the way.
Yeah, and that dude, like, how the fuck does he know everything?
Yeah.
Where the fuck does Gracie Law come in?
Gracie Law has one of the greatest lines in this, though. They're like, I think it's Jack Burton that says, "What are you doing here?" when she comes into the restaurant,
Yeah.
and she goes, "Don't worry, it's me, Gracie Law."
All right, well that solves it.
He was all, what are you, just in the neighborhood? And just decided, she's like, this is my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever at that restaurant either.
No, I know, right?
It's only the people that they know. The Dragons of the Black Pool.
That's right.
Yeah, but he's got the nice satin jacket or the nice leather jacket with that shit on it. It's fucking awesome.
So I think that's another thing this movie did, though, with the archetypes, was Gracie Law was an intelligent woman.
Yeah.
And Jack Burton's Jack Burton.
Yeah.
He's your every male, sort of.
Yeah.
Cowboy in the new age.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not especially smart.
Right.
Not especially badass with the hand-to-hand combat.
He sucks at everything. Every major fight scene, he fucks himself over.
Yeah.
He pulls a knife out, flies away.
Yep.
Dennis Dunn kicks
Comes
the
back
shit
and
out
he's
of
like,
everybody.
"Hey, Wing,
Yeah.
thanks, buddy."
He's like, "Ah."
You know, none of that matters because it's all in the reflexes.
Yeah, because
Right.
at the very
Yeah,
end,
exactly.
he's the one that takes down Lopan.
Exactly.
He did like nothing to get here.
Yeah, yeah. He
takes
grabs
the
a knife.
moped.
And you know,
Jack Burton, how are you going to get us out of these cages? I have no idea. And he just crawls away.
Well, he does that too. Whenever they go to the elevator, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Which way, up or down?" And he looks back at Eddie, and he's like, "Which way, up or down?" And he's like, "Let's go up."
yeah.
So he's like, he doesn't know anything.
He's like
But
that guy.
he
that-
has, oh, go ahead.
no, it falls into like success. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely. He just stumbles in
Yeah.
to these crazy, and that's where I feel like you can't take the hero away from Jack Burton. Because I know he's doing it for his money. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
At first.
right?
But then it's personal.
But even as
Now
the
it's
guy, well, even as the guy like pushes them aside in the airport,
Yeah.
and he's like, "What's he say? Son of a bitch must pay."
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, "Yeah,
that's one of the funniest
He's
lines.
like, he's all in on fucking kicking these dudes' ass. Or no, I think that was after they had already stolen the girls.
Yeah.
When he says that.
I think it's when they're leaving. Yeah. But
at any
yeah.
rate, he was about to fight these dudes because they bumped into Gracie,
Yeah.
who he's hitting on pretty hard. So maybe it's just thinking with his dick. I'm not
Right.
really sure. But
That's
he
my
goes
pussy.
after him.
No, I'm just kidding.
But he's been drinking all night too.
Right. He doesn't
but
care. He's
whenever the dude pulls out the knife and he pulls out the butterfly knife, he's like, "Hey, where did that come from?"
Yeah.
He pulls out the other deal and they're doing the kung fu moves and they trip him and shit. He's like, he sucks at fighting.
that
the worst.
line
I agree.
specifically, the one that you mentioned though, is like, "Son of a bitch," and it was like, comma, "must pay." And it was like, why did they like say it so weird?
What's really cool is he's really channeling that John Wayne swagger.
He really
Son
is.
of a bitch,
Yeah.
must pay.
And
He's-
he doesn't dress like John Wayne. That's what I'll be honest. That will be one of the things that like always ties this with the '80s, because I do feel like it's a cool script. You could probably do this, setting whenever.
Yeah.
But if you kept the way he dressed, like he wore the drug rug,
Yeah.
right, the Baja, if you will, and the boots that were up to his like.
They were moccasin boots. You know where he got those? The story behind that is because, they lived in Aspen.
Right.
Him and Goldie Hawn. Well, there's a guy that actually that was his idea to put those boots in there.
Really?
Because he knew a guy that made them up there. They
Oh
called
my
him.
God.
There's a name for this dude, and it was it's a weird name, but he makes these boots, and he like put a real boot on their car because they parked in front of his residence or his business or something like that. Yeah, so he was like, "Oh, let's add this to my costume," and they're like, "All right," because Clint Eastwood and somebody else the studio wanted them instead of him.
Oh my God, Clint Eastwood in this movie would have been terrible.
Shitty.
Don't get me wrong,
Get
Clint
out
Eastwood's
my
a
yard.
good actor. He's
No.
a good director.
You need comedy. You need that
comedy,
that
not
swagger.
his suit.
You don't see Clint Eastwood getting hit on the head from a brick because he was like, "Let's go, guys!"
Yeah, and he has what is it? Is a Mac 10? Yeah, the fucking Mac 10.
Yeah,
and I love that when they get, I'll trade you.
Yeah, they all keep trading guns
Until Eddie ends up with like just the pistol.
You can just see his face. He's like, You notice so many different things the more times that you watch it over and over again. But it just never gets old. I don't think this movie will ever get old.
And the other thing about this movie is the pacing.
Yeah.
It's like go time from the beginning of the movie. And it doesn't let up. There is not a lot of downtime within this movie.
Or fluff or anything.
Yeah, not really.
I mean, there's the restaurant scene where they regroup after the first thing.
Yeah.
But that's you had to have that part.
Yeah.
That's your back, and they're talking about the different Taoism and Buddhism. He's like, everything's going, and how Wang describes everything. My mind's going north and south.
Yep.
Maybe I should have went home and got 40 wings.
40 wings.
You know, it's just they added a lot of these weird old timey kind of things, but then it was updated. It was kind of naive, almost a little bit, with some of the Chinese people, but they were all well versed in absolutely everything,
except for the white people.
Yeah,
and Gracie. Well, except for Gracie Law.
Well, yeah, and
she kind of
Gracie Law.
Yeah,
I wonder what she does for a living.
I don't know. That's so convenient.
I think all
probably
she really
like a
does,
therapist.
No,
She's a lawyer.
Lawyer. Oh, that makes so sense.
She is in the movie. She's a lawyer.
I'm just kidding because of the law.
Okay,
lawyer.
I just thought you knew that.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
I guess I was playing it too real.
You really were.
but then she also helps with like refugees coming over.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, she's
she's
a activist lawyer.
Yeah. She's like in everybody's face, but
and that news reporter.
She's like Daredevil. If Daredevil didn't have any sensory powers, was a woman.
And not Daredevil.
And couldn't really fight. Yeah. Couldn't really fight. It could see stuff.
So she's an environmental lawyer. That's amazing. That was awesome.
No, I looked at I don't know. I looked at all the different things about this. I mean, God, it came out July 2nd, you know, so the middle of the summer. Yeah. The reason why it came out so early is because they were trying to beat
it's the day after my wife's birthday. I'm going to throw that in there so I can like get kudos.
Nice. They threw it in there so they could beat the Golden Child. That's one of the only reasons why they made this movie.
Wasn't one of the characters from this in the Golden Child?
Victor Wong,
who was also in another John Carpenter movie, Prince of Darkness.
Okay, you know that guy right there. The reason why his face looks that way,
no,
because he had Bell's palsy.
Oh, really?
And it stuck. I had Bell's palsy one time, and it deadened the whole side of my face.
Really?
But that's why he stayed that way.
I didn't know you could get rid of it.
Oh, well, I took steroids and I was young enough, so it like built up that nerve and built you back up.
Okay.
But that's what happened to him. But I always remember him from Tremors.
Yeah. Of course. Right?
Yeah.
Tremors.
Tremors is fucking. He's like graboids. Fucking. I mean, he's so iconic in a lot of those roles. And The Last Emperor is one of the movies that won an Oscar.
Yeah.
But him and Dennis Dunn were in it.
Yeah.
And Dennis Dunn named his kid Victoria.
Oh, really?
For him because they were such good friends.
That's awesome.
But they really did have two of the biggest Asians in all of cinema in this movie, Lo Pan and Egg Shin. You know? They were both two of the biggest Asian actors at the time.
Yeah.
Still kind of are. But, I mean,
I didn't recognize either of them.
Lo Pan's been in tons of stuff.
Yeah,
his voice is very...
What's his real name?
Pan
Lo.
James Hong.
James Hong.
His name's James.
He was in a a lot of stuff.
No,
though.
he's an American, and he was on Blade Runner.
Yeah,
another big iconic movie. God, Kung Fu Panda. He did a lot of the voices on that.
That actually kind of.
I kind of did some.
Is that higher voice?
I didn't really know that.
Well, you know, I mean, this movie kind of goes through. It transcends kind of any kind of genre, even the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
they even had a TV series where they changed the main bad guy to Ho Pan or something like that. Ho Chan instead of Lo Pan, and it was kind of the same kind of character, but it was voiced by him.
Right.
He does a lot of stuff, and if you look at his IMDb, it's freaking like 7 pages. He's done tons of shit. He's been all over the place. Magnum PI. Fucking crazy shit, right?
You almost like imitated his voice there for a second.
Magnum PI?
We are not put on this earth to get it.
We are not put on your earth to get it.
This pisses me off to no end.
Yeah, that was actually really good.
No end.
Yeah, that was like going in.
That was my favorite Lopan line, by the way. I was like, what the fuck?
This pisses me off to no end. You bring more people here?
Friends of yours?
Friends of yours?
Are you trying to piss me off?
One thing that I learned too that I didn't realize is that Dennis Dunn guy, he never did any kung fu
No.
until this movie.
Really?
Yeah, and this was the first time he ever did any kind of kung fu.
Who's that one?
And I know his stuntman probably did most of it.
Yeah.
But he looks so fucking natural. Wang
Wayne.
Chi.
I have something to say about his. As soon as you're done,
No, go for it.
So the one thing that I noticed being a first time watcher of this movie is how he went from like civilian fighter to like, oh my god, those are red turbans, they're gonna kick my ass.
Oh, yeah, dude.
To like doing flips and acrobats and sword fights while flowing through the air. I was like, where did this guy come from?
I'll tell you where this came from. Love.
Oh yes,
Love.
Love makes me.
And that's
fight
why
much
Wang's.
better.
That's why Wang's the hero of this movie.
He's the actual
Yeah.
hero.
Because he's doing it for love.
He knows
And
all
Jack
the
Burton's
He
is
the
a hero.
Jack Burton's the sidekick.
He destroys.
That's so weird, but yeah,
He destroys 2 of the elements.
he's the one
third-
that does a lot of the fighting.
He does almost everything. Whenever he flips above Jack,
Oh, that was
at
so
the end,
ridiculous.
he flips like 6 times. It's fucking awesome. And he lands and he just looks at it.
That's what I was like. When did he become kung fu
He
master?
was always badass, but the red turban guys, those dudes were like, he's like, they're killers. I don't even want to.
Yeah,
fuck
they're
with
like
them.
savage.
Yeah,
But then he just goes and I've heard love. All right,
Yeah, it's love. It's love. Man. It's an '80s movie. Love conquers all.
even AIDS.
Except for Jack Burton's penis.
Yeah, nothing can fix that thing.
I'll never understand the reference to where they have Lopan in the alley first. You know,
Yeah,
whenever they drive
and
by
they run
him.
through,
So
like run through
no,
him,
no,
but
no.
it's obvious that he got ran
No.
over.
Like whenever they're first going into the alley, before all the other people, he's sitting there. He looks like a bum.
Yeah, and he looks up at it like
He looks at the truck, and then
I did not
you see
catch
him
that.
again. Yeah, he's like right there. It's weird.
Yeah.
He's like a weird middle version of Lopan.
I think they did that to show that he's like
He's everywhere.
yeah he's omnipotent almost.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not omnipotent.
That's why I
omnipresent.
immediately stopped saying it because I was like, not omnipotent,
It's not really
but
what I'm
that same
looking
kind of like I can be anywhere I need to be, and I have eyes everywhere. But, yeah.
Maybe is it omnipresence
Omnipresence.
or omnipresent?
Yes, that's
so he's
more
kind of
what we were
everywhere
talking
all the
about.
time because he's
or
really
at least
a ghost.
all over San Francisco's Chinatown.
Yeah, even that alley was like weird too because
It was like straight out of Marvel's Netflix series.
Yeah, it's like perfect daylight. And he makes a right. He gets in there, and then the old lady goes into the deal after she's chopping up her goose, and then all of a sudden it's dark.
Yeah.
It's like whoa.
In that scene, especially in that alleyway. I have come to a theory that Jack's semi truck, it literally does not have reverse. Like that thing can only go forward. I swear.
Well, they kind
swear my life.
of foreshadow that shit, but it does go in reverse, and I'll tell you why. But as soon as they go down that alley, he hits that sign.
Yeah.
And it's like
You're right.
But it does go in reverse because at the very end, whenever they hop in, he's like, "All right, let's go." And he does it, and he goes in reverse. Oh, sorry.
When you just saw like lightning coming out of this guy's eye, and you're like going, "Hey, let's go forward. They'll probably get out of the way." Yeah,
I wonder how easy it would be to back up a semi through a small alley.
way better than going forward to death.
They just jump over him.
No, they don't even jump. Oh, the one jumps over.
Yeah.
Like the one's like literally like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize there was a semi here.
Whoops.
Here you go." And then the other one's like, "Oh, I can just jump over this truck."
Well, that fight scene is pretty awesome too because that establishes something so totally fucking crazy. Those two factions, which is funny because the Wing Kong. The red guys. That's what the name of Lopan's. It's the Wing Kong exchange.
Yeah.
But it's like so obvious and on the surface for it, and nobody really goes after them. It's like, oh, don't worry about the cops. We got these guys. But it's just so weird that fight scene, and they kick the shit out of everybody. But one thing I did notice: no bullet holes whatsoever in Jack's truck.
No,
Not just the bullet holes, but they shot a lot of bullets, and there were still a lot of people left to fight.
Yes, and not even that.
They only killed two people.
If you're in a normal semi, average person, so you're not like having like this tactical semi, or anything crazy. You're sitting there, and there's a ton of like auto firing guns shooting directly at you, and they're sitting up in this vehicle like
they don't duck.
the window.
He's just got his knife, and he's
the window's
like,
in between us. We're good, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Jack and his knife was so great.
That's not a knife.
Just holding on to
This
it like
is a knife.
Yeah. Like, as soon as they start coming in, he grabs it.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
Obviously, he's talented with it because he killed the main guy. Like,
Well,
okay. By
But
the
he
way,
missed the first time.
the fact that he never mind. We'll get into that.
Yeah. I love that fight scene because if there's any actor out of all of the 80s that would probably have the best stories of almost anything, is the stuntman that is on absolutely every fucking movie in the 80s. He's on Die Hard. He's on every one of John Carpenter's movies, everything. He's the guy that looks like Fu Manchu. You know, the guy with the the long
what
hair?
is his name? He's actually been in some things too.
He looked familiar, but I thought I was just being racist.
Al Leong. That dude he's a stunt coordinator. He was remember on Die Hard, his little funny part where he grabs the Snicker bar or something, he takes a bite while he's waiting for the cops. The dude is fucking badass. Yeah. He's on everything. He was on They Live. He was on, I'm pretty sure, almost every one of fucking, except for like maybe The Thing or something. Right. But he's on so many movies, and he's probably met so many fucking people that he's like, oh yeah, I know fucking Burt Reynolds. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's probably
worked with him 3 times.
Exactly. And if you look at his IMDb, he was on fucking The Fall Guy. He was on fucking Adam 12 almost or something. I mean, he was on almost every fucking popular 80s TV show, just like the other 2 Asian dudes. Yep. A-Team. Everything. This dude's on everything. He's a badass. Yeah. He really is. And I think he still does stuff, but I don't know how much he does. But he's like the Tom Savini of, and that's a pretty obscure reference too, but he's like the Tom Savini of stuntman. Nice. You know? I mean, he really is. Savini's, he does all the effects.
Wait, is he the unknown stuntman? Is he the Fall Guy?
I don't know. He might be.
Dun, dun, dun. Now we know. That's kind of how Kung Fu got stolen from Bruce Lee, right?
There you go.
They just gave this to Lee Majors.
Did you just change it too?
I was like slowly turning it on.
Genghis Khan on Bill and Ted's.
Yeah. Oh, listen that's where I was trying.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably how I recognize him.
He was on My Science Project, which is a really cool one. Die Hard, Bill and Ted's. Those are Bill and Ted. You know him as Genghis Khan just because he goes fucking nuts the whole time.
In the sporting goods store.
He's just a badass. Yeah, he is. I think he would be one of the coolest dudes just to really sit down and have a conversation.
Well, I'll call him and we'll see if we can get him for an interview.
Yeah, let's try to do it.
He's like, yeah, I'm free. Yeah.
He's like, don't worry, man. I got you.
Okay, before we move on, though, we do have to talk about this fight scene. It was badass. Yeah. And that choreography, bro, it's like they didn't spend more than a day on that.
No. You
like
can see fists slowing down before it hits people.
It was like they were just having a good time. They're like, all right, everybody get out there and do some kung fu shit.
Wiggle around a little bit.
And some of those guys were real fighters, by the way. Some of the guys that were in those clans or whatever.
One of the elements. Actually, he was a trainer for the Hong Kong police or some shit like that.
Yeah,
I think it was Rain or something like that. But they're all fucking badass. Those dudes are fucking cool as shit too.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's the best part. Like when they appear, that may be one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah,
you know, because
this movie would be so okay. So revert. Yeah, go ahead.
Special effects weren't bad for them.
No,
yeah, especially for 1986, and you know they didn't spend a shit ton of money.
I was kind of impressed with the lightning bolts. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. We're gonna put it out there. There was a movie. Okay, so you know how we talked previously in the past, at least, about like trailers and how they kind of sometimes ruin a movie, and it's great to go in like knowing no expectation.
Absolutely.
So my friend one day, he was like, "Hey man, I got this movie and I want you to watch it." And I was like, "Cool, what is it?" He's like, "From Dusk Till Dawn." I was like, "What's it about?" He's like, "I'm not telling you. You're just going to sit down and watch this."
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
Never heard of this. Never even knew it was anywhere near vampiric, or anything. Right, yeah. And so I go in and watching this thinking it's like a thriller heist movie. And then they go into the bar and everything. I just think they're going to get in a tussle or something, blah, blah, blah. This is how they pick up some chick that's going to go on an adventure with them. And then all of a sudden her mouth turns into this vampire. I was like, and so like literally it made it such a good movie for me because I didn't expect anything. Yep. And then I think that would be the exact same with this. Like this movie would have that like, what am I watching kind of moment if as soon as you start seeing like sorcerers show up.
Yeah. That Chinese magic, man.
Yeah, at first you're like, this is a truck driver movie about him like making a deal with his buddy like in gambling, and all of a sudden now he's like in a sorcerer world.
Yeah,
it's like
a ghost story. It's weird because that guy had been in before BC, changed into that shit.
And I know that the Lightning Boy was based on the Raiden idea.
It had to have been.
But the opposite actually happened.
Yeah,
Raiden was based off of him.
Raiden was based off of that guy.
Wait, when was Mortal
whenever-
Kombat?
1990.
That was the first one?
Yeah.
Something.
I
91,
thought they were late
92.
80s.
No.
So
I was
that
gonna
makes
say
sense
92,
I think
right?
91, 92.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when the first
Because that's
Mortal
the
Kombat
first
came out.
thing I thought. The second I saw
As
that
soon as
character.
you saw Raiden,
yeah.
it was right there. But that's, I mean, of course, that's not his name, but that was it.
Yeah.
But
That's where they got
100%.
the archetype.
The hat, everything.
Everything,
Because I was
yeah.
like, man, they ripped
Yeah.
the crap out of Mortal Kombat. But now I know
there's
the
some
opposite.
other similarities too. You know, the arcade that they're in at the very end. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they call it the arcade where it had the big skull and everything like that. Well, they had a Goro looking character.
Yeah, they did.
You know, they had the 6-arm dude or the 4-arm guy. They had. God, there's so many. We used to try to point them out and try to figure out what they took from and how they got this. You know, and you just look at those back in the day after Mortal Kombat came. We're like, it's Big Trouble in Little China. No shit. There was just a lot of shit that was really cool on the similarities for it.
This movie, speaking of similarities, this movie, I have a whole theory, and I'm writing a whole page on this, about how it's in the same world as Flubber with Robin Williams. I'm
Interesting.
totally kidding. I'm making that 100%.
I was like,
Let's hear this.
Like, if I could actually make that link, though,
Whoa.
like, I would
I feel like you
get paid
could.
for this.
I feel like you could.
You almost could anything, almost,
Absolutely.
yeah. Because I was just like, what movie could I say that would be?
And that's
like,
where you
ridiculous?
remember the big green cloud?
there you go.
Yes, it's the Flubber formula.
Damn.
Done. That's
Robin-
it. That's the connection.
Robin Williams
We're
is
done.
like, he's taking a holiday
Let's go home, guys.
in San Francisco and he gets struck by that lightning bolt. And he's like, holy shit. And then all of a sudden, bam.
That would be perfect.
He goes back home and he's like, I got the formula for this fucking weird shit.
Let me put it together.
And then that little robot's like, hey, I love you.
I forgot about the robot.
yeah.
Oh my god.
He's like, psst, 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 psst.
Oh, dude.
You know, just going off, and then Flubber's born. You know, there's a couple of similarities to Ghostbusters in this too.
No, I
at least
didn't pick up on
one big giant similarity to Ghostbusters. I guess it wouldn't be a similarity; it'd be something that they share set wise.
Okay.
Egg Shin's place is actually the
station?
the station house.
Really?
Really?
That's from Ghostbusters.
I mean, obviously, totally redone because it looks totally different.
Yeah, no, completely.
Yeah.
You know how they go down into the hell, right? They go down to the underworld and everything like that. That's
Is that what that's representing? The underworld?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's a weird deal.
That's why it has so many hells.
But
Oh,
yeah.
it's like the layers of hell,
Yeah,
almost.
It's it almost is because they
They
keep
have
going
lots
down.
of hells in China, Jack.
They
I
go
see what you
down,
did there.
and that's something that I noticed too. Is they're always going down.
Yes.
They're always going down, and even the arcade,
Just
was
like our
down,
women.
Yep.
But then they go up to leave. And one scene, you know, the scene where who was it, Thunder or whatnot?
Thunder. Thundercats.
the guy that blows himself up and everything like that. Well, they're in the deal, and Gracie's like, "Are we going down?"
Yeah.
It feels like we're going down. But then they open the deal, and you can see windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not really that far
going
down.
down.
We have
Yeah,
to make
that's
the people
weird.
that work down here feel like they're close to outside. It's like part of the union contract.
I thought the whole Hell of Upside Down Sinners was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
because the way that they had their heads kind of cocked too, like when they died, their heads just kind of floated up a little bit, but they were still chained. I don't know, it was fucking crazy. And he was hitting him in the stomach with the little rubber ball too. He would just make it appear, and
Yeah,
then, like,
and-
fucking knock him down.
and like
yeah.
spit it on.
Yeah.
The chains. I have one thing before I forget because I may not bring this back up later. They were swimming and they were like going by, and he was like, "What kind of room am I in?" When they surface and everything, and like he goes by the chains and moves the chains, and you hear like full on like real chains like out in like not underwater, like you hear them like clanking together, and I was like,
Yeah, that doesn't work.
It doesn't
and
work.
the home dude's looking at him from up top.
yeah. He's just like, "I expected you to be here."
Yeah, that one dude's got such a thick accent too. Thunder, he's like, "I can help you."
Yeah.
And he takes him
Help
through.
you.
Yeah, he takes him through.
Smoking a cigar.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
It's
was
fucking weird.
Purple suit or whatever.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, it worked.
Oh my god! Fucking those,
did. No, it was a
those
good
characters
one.
were the shit. Yeah, those characters were badass, and
Yeah.
even the weird fucking gorilla-looking Blanca dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fucking strange, man.
It was strange through the whole movie. Like
Yeah.
that
Where
that
did it come
section.
from?
Yeah,
Like
what-
full on Scooby Doo with the little thing where the eyes like go up and the bloop, bloop.
Yeah,
Like one eye even like is obviously off contour.
Yeah.
Like it's not on the
dude,
same
it's
path.
weird.
Yeah.
And I read somewhere that the guy that was in the suit wasn't following direction, didn't want to walk a certain way, didn't want to do shit. He was like the toughest person to work with.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like,
you could
what?
almost kind of tell.
Yeah, he was you know, he had to carry Gracie Law the whole time.
Oh, by the way, did you see how she's like, "Oh no, it's a and just like falls on him like into your arms like, here, let me make this easier for you, monster. And then when I'm about to set you down, then let go of me, you bastard.
Yeah.
That's like so stupid.
And then he can barely hold anything, but he puts the chains on her arms.
Yeah, it's obvious they did that on purpose with the angle to make it so you couldn't see, because his hands are obviously like this.
Yeah, they're like little rubber pieces.
How are they again?
Wait, wobble, wobble, wobble. I was kidding. I forgot visual cues don't work.
She's like, I've had it up to, and she puts it up, and he's like, ah. He's laughing at her because
yeah, look at her. She put it up to here. So stupid.
his character is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I almost said. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? No, ja.
He said Nazis.
Ja, Nazis, they're bad, yeah. Oh my god.
Okay,
Big Trouble, Little Hitler.
Dang.
The Germany version of it.
Wait. What was the movie that Chaplin did?
The Dictator.
Big Trouble, Little Dictator. I love it. And
Little
we have,
Dictator.
And we have like a Charlie Chaplin style Hitler.
I have to say,
Throughout the whole thing. Done. This
Done.
is a fucking great movie.
There's a movie. Right
that
there.
Dictator, that had one of the best speeches I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah?
The one that he does where he's like, unite, and everything, that whole little thing. In the fourth book of blah, 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 it says blah, blah, blah. Like, he does, like, even though it feels like definitely not something that would be done now, but for that time and everything, like, it was really a passionate, like, very strong, like, little speech.
Well, that was his only talking movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. I don't know of any
and
other.
that was one of his last movies to actually
would know
ever
better
do.
than me anyway.
I think it was his last one if it was his only talking one. Did you know that the car that Egg Shin drove is still in operation? From what I understand, it's in operation.
The car or the bus?
The bus.
Okay.
And it's at Yellowstone Park, and they take people around Old Faithful in it.
Oh my god!
And it's called the Hollywood
just
car.
there last year, dude. I could have rode an Egg Shin's bus.
Yeah, I had to.
awesome.
I had to fucking walk to that bitch.
Yeah,
It's
same
fucking
here.
cool. It's a cool, like, fucking weird deal.
By the way, that Camaro, was it at the beginning where the
No,
bad
Firebird,
guy?
wasn't it?
Firebird, thank
Yeah.
you. So the Firebird had the same hatchback as the 1990 Camaro did, right?
Yeah.
That little tiny slot of a trunk.
Yeah.
And I loved the fact that they stuffed her in there because I saw it and I was like, there is like, I know that trunk. There is no room.
I like how that one dude in the middle with the weird
the
white
slits,
glasses is sitting just like right up front.
Yeah, because there's a hump there.
Yeah.
It's called the transmission.
He's just kind of sitting in the back. I had a friend that had a car like that one. It was a Trans Am or something like that. Good Lord, that thing! I hated sitting in the back.
Oh, it was the worst.
Being a fat guy, you're trying to get in that
Even not a
motherfucker.
fat guy
I'm
was
like,
bad, so
I'm
being
like,
a fat
I ain't
guy.
getting out for the rest of the night.
No, like this
Fuck
ain't
you
no
guys.
in and out kind of thing.
Yeah,
This is
no.
I get in once, I get out once.
Yeah, it's like, I can't hear. You got 2 12s.
God, the back seat again.
Yeah, it was
I had 2
bad.
12s in the back too.
Oh.
It made
You
that.
guys with all
Yeah.
your loud music and the big vibrations in my ears, I can't even hear what you're doing up front.
Holy pay
pass
my
me-
eardrums.
Pass me the joint.
I gotta calm down. My anxiety's really riddling myself.
I'm gonna need that joint and that bottle of Bacardi.
I'm tripping. Can I smoke a cigarette back here? Yeah.
You tripping, Boo?
You tripping, B?
Oh no!
All right.
Oh no!
So we were going to review a movie or talk about a movie.
Yeah.
That's what we were doing.
Whenever Lopan dies, right, and Jack ultimately kills him, they do shake the heavens and the earth. And whenever he's leaving, he's like, Wayne, we really did shake the heavens and the earth. And he's like, no shit, Jack. No shit, Wayne. No shit, Jack. No shit. Yeah, I mean, that's like one of the coolest things, and I didn't really ever realize it until I watched it again this week. Was like, damn, that makes sense.
Yep.
Because they really did shake the heavens and the earth for that. What was with the fucking spider at the fucking bottom of the weird? He's like, that's the lifeblood of the earth, Jack. And
didn't see the spider.
well, you know, the thing that came out of the fucking wall.
Oh
got
yeah, and
that
he's
one
like,
dude.
"Be gone and don't come back."
He's like, never come out again.
Yeah, he's like, "What was that?" He's like, "Let's go."
But
He was
yeah,
like the
shine-
Chinese Gandalf right
Yeah.
there.
But his 6-demon bag, right?
Right.
He shines a fucking flashlight on some marbles and throws it up there and it fucking explodes. And the dude's like, "Fuck you, I ain't coming back."
Right.
I
He's
got
like,
enough
"Oh,
food
he
for
got
the next
that?"
month. Yeah. But it's like, what is the lifeblood of the earth? He's like, what is this? It's the lifeblood of the earth, Jack. So what is it? It's like a black river.
That's
flows
where
underneath.
we differentiate between like a cult classic that has so many theories behind it and a just straight action movie. They're
Right.
like, you want to know? We're gonna let you we're gonna point out the fact that you want to know, but we're just gonna kind of nip it in the butt now. Yeah,
W.D. Richter.
yeah, yeah.
W.D. Richter.
Because he did that in
100%.
the Buckaroo Banzai. a
Buckaroo
little bit.
Banzai.
Yep.
You were thrust into a world that you had no idea what it
idea.
was about.
Yeah.
You didn't even know it was there. You had a glimpse.
Yep.
And then
That
bam,
was it.
you're
And then
in there. Yeah.
gone.
When they're underneath the shit, how did they get all the way to Lopan's shit? Is like fucking Egg Shin's fucking station like 2 blocks away from fucking
apparently,
and they just go underneath the ground and they walk like 2 blocks and they're like, okay, we're here.
Hey, we're here.
Holy shit! And they end
That
up
was
in
the
the
whole
one spot.
movie.
Yeah, I
It
know.
was like, yeah.
It was like, whoa! Everybody's like 4 blocks away from each other. How
Yeah.
big is Chinatown?
Yeah. Oh my god. I will say, the one part that really got me was when he grabbed his lightning bolts and then got ascended.
Yeah,
It's like-
this is fucking awesome.
But no matter what, it was always obvious that it was just like straight up slow.
Yeah, it's like you're riding an elevator.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's like one of
It looked like an elevator,
It's
yeah.
like you're standing behind a couch and like, I'll take the elevator.
You can fly, but it's like taking an elevator to the other destination. You're like, ooh.
It's crazy. He's the last one. It's crazy. He's the last one out of all the elements to be alive too.
Yeah.
Right.
And whenever he goes out and he's showing off, he's doing his kung fu moves, and the fucking ceiling turns into fucking fire. That's one of the coolest fucking looking scenes because he's just walking past it. And it's like,
Yep.
Yep.
and fucking lights up the whole fucking place. Looks fucking cool as
It
shit.
does.
Well, just even some of the creatures in it. I mean, the eyeball creature was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It was weird.
That's the Futurama tie that I have with it. Futurama totally stole the eyeball, like floating head eyeball thing.
Which episode?
I don't remember. I'll try and figure it out.
Yeah, I'll have to find it. Well, I mean that thing, and Lopan can see him at all times. But yet he's like lurking in the back whenever he kills the fucking thing too.
Okay, when he kills him, it was like, where was he the entire time,
Yeah.
and why did he now alert him? He's like, oh crap, they noticed me. Panlin,
And then he's just
Panlin!
fucking yoink, right straight in the fucking middle of his head.
Dude,
Just
it was
fucking chink.
done. If you could have killed that thing, it's
Well,
like,
and you know too, what was I like that part where Eggshin and him are fighting, Eggshin and Lopan, and they're fighting like it's fucking samurais or fucking Chinese weird, crazy, badass dudes fucking through gemstones.
Right.
He's like, and they're pushing and shit, and it's like, you never could beat me, Eggshin. Fucking
I
totally
wrote a
takes you
note
down.
on that matter, by the way. So here, let's see.
That's an unexpected kind of a part too, where they're fighting, and it's like they're playing a video game.
It really is.
It really is because he's like,
So I am pretty positive Dragon Ball Z dates back to like late 70s, early 2000s when it comes to the comic strip, and even the anime started.
Wait, did you say late 70s, early 2000s?
Late 70s comic strips. Did I say what?
Nothing. Go
Dragon
on.
Ball Z went all the way back.
If
there.
I messed up, yes, I didn't mean that, but I meant the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay,
I
that makes
think I
way
said
more
early
sense.
90s.
You said early 2000s.
2000s. My God, I jumped a lot. Late 70s, early 80s is like when they...
Somewhere between there.
A big gap there, but you know, it happened somewhere.
30
But
years.
since the creation of time and now, I would probably say. So at the that's like so stupid. But at the same time, if they saw Dragon Ball Z and then made this movie, they had so many different references that if they didn't mean to, my God, they're very, very similar. Like the whole like back and forth, and it's like slowly getting and slowly gaining and slowly this and that.
And that's a classic kind of a thing, and I could see that being
Right.
in
Absolutely.
manga from the '60s and stuff
Right,
like that.
it goes
you know?
back, yeah.
yeah. I could see that, and Dragon Ball, and I bet you a lot of people took a lot of this written by a white guy,
Yeah,
about
right.
Chinese folklore and shit
Oh, yeah.
like that. Took that shit and ran with it. I mean, there's so many cool parts to this that you could branch off. You could take a piece of it and be like, here's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Well, especially at
Here's a
this
whole
time,
nother
though.
story.
At this time, I mean, they were really bringing Asian culture into motion pictures, like pretty much to the
Yeah.
forefront, and not just in motion pictures. Because around this time, you had like the big ninja craze.
You would say,
right, like
yeah, American
the,
Ninja, yeah.
American Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja,
Ninja Warrior.
Ninjas.
But you would
Yeah.
say, it was no more kung fu like it was in the 70s.
Right.
But in American cinema, they were bringing in this Chinese folklore, Japanese.
Exactly.
Because, I mean...
Golden Child came out the same year, right?
Same year.
Right.
And was a completely weird, kind of a different movie, but then they had they had all of these Last Emperor
Year of the
movies and
Dragon,
everything like
right.
that. Yeah. They had all this stuff, but... Bruce Lee kind of ended it with his deal, and that was the rise of the 70s kung fu.
Right.
With Black Belt Jones and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Black Belt Jones,
He was a badass, too.
I'm coming for your girl.
He's no Pootie Tang.
No, hell no. But you're right.
What I say?
In Sarate.
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 Sign my pity on a running kind.
Yes.
And they bringing it into this type of a deal, and W.D. Richter really did a good job of introducing a whole bunch of different kind of just weird shit, you know?
And just mashing it together and making it truly an American movie.
100%. Yeah.
We ain't gonna lose a feather tonight, boys, or whatever. That whole
what is it? And I've always been curious what the drink is. It had to just been a shot of something.
I think it was a placebo.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
it was totally a placebo.
100%.
It was just some alcohol.
Yeah, it was like it'll get you buzzing or something.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, yeah.
Get you a good buzz, and he drinks it, and it's.
Okay, I may not have got the reference in that. So they take the shot, they go in there, and he's like, "Man, I'm feeling good. I'm not even like scared or anything." He's like, "I'm feeling good too." And everybody. And then that one guy puts his hand on that guy's shoulder, and he's like, "Is it getting hot in here?" I didn't get that reference exactly, but I think I did.
It's like they were all in that tight elevator. It was just like,
and then they finally realize it's just a bunch of dudes in an elevator just sitting
pretty
there.
good. And then whenever he's in there with Grace, he's like, I drink something that makes me see things that nobody else can see.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
It's like, no, she was seeing the same stuff you were, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Because as soon
Did
as
you
he
get
gets
that
out
from
there,
Chavez E. Chavez?
Oh, goddamn. Chavez, Navajo. Navajo.
Did you see the size of that chicken?
It was a Navajo.
Young Guns. You got to watch it.
That's a Young Guns reference when they drink the peyote.
Well, I've seen parts of Young Guns. Just
it's a
never
good
the whole
movie,
thing.
too. Good movie, too.
I have it on VHS.
That's that guy from...
Ooh, that's a good one.
What the fuck? Two guys in the Sun show TV series. Martin Sheen. No, Charlie Sheen.
No, Emilio Estevez. And
Charlie Sheen was in it.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Emilio
The
Estevez and
brothers.
Charlie Sheen.
He's the one that holds the chicken, right?
No.
No.
He was choking it.
That's Charlie's chicken.
Just the whole experience out of the movie was badass.
Mm-hmm.
I know they did play it not too long ago in the theaters. I wish I would have went and saw it. But the Alamo Drafthouse does all kinds of shit.
Right.
And they played that movie more than once just because it's been there. It's in the folklore. And in the movie pantheon of movies that will always influence anybody new and anybody old is that fucking movie. And to actually tank at the box office like it did,
absolutely.
It grew legs in the fucking home video.
Yeah.
Everybody loved it.
Which
Cult classics.
I really think that was one of, maybe not one of the first, but one of the really early movies where suddenly home video was a much bigger venue to make up some of the money they lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know they lost on their budget because they
for
only
sure.
made like $11 million. It was like a $27 million movie, something crazy
Oh
like
my
that.
God.
Yeah.
They didn't make anything. They only played on a few theaters. They did beat Golden Child, but Golden Child was a bigger movie.
You're right.
It was a bigger movie because it was Eddie Murphy,
Right.
which was kind of crazy. I don't see why they were afraid of that movie. Because they didn't market it, and then I read from multiple places that both John Carpenter and Kurt Russell thought that this movie was going to be the shit. They really thought it was going to be really huge because all the test markets were like, "Oh man, this is fucking badass." Everybody loved it, but then when it came down to it, they didn't market it. They just fucking bummed it.
Yeah,
They
that's
just
what
like-
happened. It was really the studio
Yeah.
that dropped the ball on that.
They just killed it. Yeah, they should not have killed it. And if they would, I mean, how do you market? You market it to the kids, but it was a
Right.
little bit more adultish. But at that time, shit, it would have fucking. I would have went and saw that shit.
Absolutely.
I remember watching it on home video when it came out.
Oh,
renting
for
and
sure.
Stuff. But
I feel like I've watched that movie my whole life.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those movies that
Yeah, me too.
it was your first time to watch it.
Yeah.
Today.
Was it gentle on you? As it was your first time?
But see, I mean, you grew up in a totally different kind of a household,
did.
so you didn't have that kind of stuff.
Damn Amish.
I mean, but literally, that was one of those movies that everybody had a copy of, or you had it recorded,
Or it was
everybody
on
knew the
TBS.
lines. Yeah, I mean, you know who talks about that shit all the time?
TBS.
Michael Dannenberg.
Oh, right.
Michael
Oh, yeah.
Dannenberg. You know, my keychain has a Pork Chop Express on it.
No.
Yes, the keychain out from my car and I refer to it as my car as a Pork Chop Express. Everybody if you talk about Big Trouble in Little China,
They know.
They know
Right.
how fucking awesome it is.
I think the majority knows. At least now.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm going to say that there's probably a big age gap there, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the generation below us probably does really know.
No. I mean, it literally sticks with you because it's so. I mean, the cinematography's great, the lighting's great,
It was
the
like-
music is cool.
it kind of
I
felt like
listened to the
Goonies.
soundtrack the other day.
Oh, yeah.
The whole fucking thing, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So, as much as this movie makes Jack Burton like the quintessential
Main character.
quintessential stupid American, It really does.
He does really well at it.
And he does a good job of it.
At being the stupid
That
American.
being said, Jack Burton's the most down motherfucker ever.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anybody that gets pulled into all this stuff, and he's just like, yeah, let's roll with it.
Yeah.
And you know it's not about the $2,000.
Yeah,
At
no.
some point, you're like, okay,
My
it's
life-
about the $2,000 and maybe hitting that. And
He's living. He's living for real.
Yeah,
He's like
yeah.
actually like fuck it.
I'm
What am
here,
I doing?
I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the only thing that he does that is super against like normal truck drivers.
Yeah.
Any other truck driver would be like, nope, bye.
He's got that fucking reckless abandon.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, fuck it, we're taking my truck.
He's a cowboy.
Yeah.
The Han Solo thing
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Han Solo has a lot of ties to this character.
Which
because-
I would say Han Solo ties back to cowboys as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
He's a
Yeah.
space
Yeah,
cowboy, though.
Space cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Serenity.
damn.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I gotta
We
pour
gotta do
out
one
a
on
little
that.
liquor for that one, even though I'm not
We
drinking.
need to do a podcast on that one too.
Yeah, I need to watch the whole series over again.
God, that was so good.
Okay, now, okay, here's my proposed sequel.
Oh.
Ooh.
Now, I was thinking about it. That's
Yeah.
what I was writing
Yeah,
yesterday. You know how we had talked about how it's all set in the 1800s, right?
The originally.
This is
You
my
mean like before the
yeah,
rewrite?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my proposed sequel. If they set it back in that time, Lopan has just come over to the United States. He lands in San Francisco. He's looking for the girl with green eye because he hears something. Because you remember, he says, "Oh, most certainly there's been other girls, but they have never been like this.
They've
one,
never
right?
worked
Like guys
out.
with green eyes are safe, right?
Yeah, you're good, bro.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Just making sure.
And then whenever Egg Shen and him are fighting, he said, "You never could beat me." So I had this fucking idea, right?
Right.
That they actually do. You tie all the characters back together somehow, like Jack Burton's great-great-grandfather's there,
Right on.
looking for his horse and
Played
shit
by
like that.
Chris Christopherson.
There you go, right? Or somebody, or it could even be fucking Kurt Russell.
Yeah, it could. At this point, that would be perfect.
Yeah, and he's an older guy, but
and he's got some chops with that, with the tombstones and whatnot.
And he's a
he-
god. A planet.
Well, there's that.
But you bring it back into this, but the story is really based around Egg Shen.
Okay.
We don't know how old Egg Shen is. We don't know how we know how
Because he is a
old fucking
sorcerer,
Lopan
so
is.
he could be much older than he looks.
But Egg Shen could be young.
Yeah, I like it.
And this is where he first gets off the boat because he's sent by somebody to take down Lopan because they know he went over there. He's chasing him.
Maybe sent
Right?
by like some good Chinese god.
Something like that, right?
Yeah,
So he's
taps him on the shoulder.
so my opening is him getting off the boat and in flashing back to him leaving. You know how at the very end Egg Shen says he's like, "So why don't you take a long vacation?" He's like, "Well, don't really want to, or I'm going to take that vacation." He's like, "Why don't you go back to China and see the motherland?" He's like, "China's in the heart, Jack. Wherever I go, it goes with me."
right.
So somebody tells him that at the very beginning.
Right.
Don't worry about leaving China. You can always come back, but always remember that China's in your heart.
Right.
It goes wherever you go. So the whole story revolves around him literally fighting Lopan against the same kind of odds and everything like that. But the reason why they don't fight until the 80s is because they're both recharging.
Oh.
Like Lopan goes into some sort of suspended animation
Hibernate.
for a little while.
Right.
He's not
Or
really
poor,
dead.
if you will.
Yeah. So, I mean, he literally, they fight over the same kind of deal, but, Egg Shen thinks he beats him, but he knows that he's really not gone, so he's going to stay there. They establish all this shit the whole entire time. This is before Lopan starts the Wing Kong exchange, everything like that, or Wing Kong exchange, everything. But yeah, there's a Burton character, and then
A Burton Reynolds?
then Wang's actual family's there too, but they're actually going back to China. So his
Where they
ancestors,
belong.
yeah.
Oh,
so
God,
his
no, I'm sorry.
ancestors, his ancestors are actually there.
Dan's face right now.
Very racist. here.
But they actually at the very end, his family's going back to China.
Okay.
So you have this whole big giant story of the first time that they actually fight, where he acquires a 6-demon bag, everything like that. He's putting together everything to fight
It
him.
would be like Fantastic Beasts to Harry Potter.
There you go, because we don't know what other demons are
Yeah.
inside that bag.
Like
too.
take a side story.
Yeah.
Yeah, he only
pre-story.
he only breaks out a certain amount of demons throughout that whole fight scene at the very end.
Right.
But if you do
So you got a
that-
whole thing to dig
Yeah.
into there.
You do that, and you make this whole new story about that.
Okay, I love that. can we make a prequel to the prequel where he goes and captures the demons?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there you go. You could have everything.
That would be sick.
You could have before, and then when he gets there, and then, but what you do is you release them in backwards order.
Yeah, no,
so
I
the
love
next
it.
one is the prequel to Big Trouble. And
Exactly.
the one after that one is the prequel to Little Trouble in Big China. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
You know, it's something. It's got a tie. It's like Big Trouble in Little China, 1890 or something. you
Yeah,
know?
I think the Little Trouble in Big China has to be the original.
The
right?
original one,
Yes.
yeah, and then you have the Middle Trouble, you know,
Medium-sized trouble somewhere.
Yeah, but, and I had
Maybe
this,
China.
I mean, let me see if I have
In New
anything.
China.
I think that's where I got most of the idea. I mean, but that would be like a fucking badass way to introduce this whole folklore for everything and show, like, you know, the alley that they're fighting in. I had an idea of where they're actually building that alley.
Ooh,
You know,
yeah.
so they actually have a fight scene there. They have a fight scene still under the ground where it still looks newer.
Maybe
No,
the fight
you-
scene.
You know,
Go ahead.
Maybe you're on the same
I
page.
think so.
Fight scene is why they have to redo the
yeah. Because they
Is that
it's brand new, but it's all made of wood and everything like that. Just because it's in the 1890s and shit. So they have pieces of it that are being built with brick, and again they could destroy that whole area right there. But then that's where that's where the energy is always focused there. That's why Lopan's there,
Right.
most of the time. I could just see it in my head.
Or
going
something
back.
happens in that last battle that causes like that energy to be there, you know, or to
and it draws all the same people back again.
exactly
Like in Beacon.
yes.
Yeah, and like Jack Burton's ancestors, basically, he's a cowboy, you know, but yet they don't know that they're going to intertwine again,
Right.
you know. But Egg Shin knows all this throughout all those years.
All I hear is Kid Rock in my head right now. Cowboy, baby.
But I think you could build.
No, Mitch. No.
Bad Mitch.
Stop smacking me with the newspaper. God.
I think they made
Why do you even
comics,
have that here?
but I don't think they made
Who reads a fucking newspaper?
anymore, right? I think it would be a really badass movie if you
could
did
be.
it right.
I agree.
You add in a lot of the Rain characters, and then you know that big fucking Blanca dude and shit. They show how he gets made.
Ooh,
You know
now
what I
you give
mean?
him some backstory so he makes fucking sense.
It makes sense that he's there, you know.
Give him some CGI.
And
Let's
how
just be nice.
he summons rain and thunder. And
all that
lightning
could be
and everything
happening.
like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
I
bringing
love that.
all of that.
So that's kind of his, you know, the climax of the prequel, the middle movie, if you will. Now suddenly,
We've created our own trilogy.
Yes,
Let's
this
go
just
with
happened.
it, Yeah.
Growing up with all these movies, I always have ideas for continuations or something like that.
Well, you
Now,
get
it's
into that story, yeah.
But it's not an original idea because, again, the original movies are there.
right?
Right.
In Hollywood, there's not a lot of original ideas, but
What?
this one would be.
I'm confused.
There's a lot of things that you can continue on some of these cult movies that people love so much. You really have to put, because people like us who are really into these movies have that love for them. You know?
I think that in order for you to do that is you get the people that were originally involved
Somehow, yeah.
to not only be a part of the movie making process, but to be like, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Like a producer.
Those people endorse it, yeah, or like Kurt Russell produces it,
Right.
like he could afford it.
Yeah, he does something. I mean, he would have to be there. John Carpenter would have to be there.
Absolutely.
Like John Carpenter was involved in the new Halloween. You can guarantee the guy that loved Halloween made this movie.
This is what I wrote down when I went through the movie and watched it. These are my 2 cents of not everything, but a decent amount. Very first thing. So let's take a truck driver. Now stay with me. Take a truck driver and throw him into a Marvel Netflix series. Big Trouble Little China.
There you go. You know, we have glossed over all of his famous phrases, but keep going.
When did the friend of Jack become master at fighting? At the beginning, he could barely fight. Do you honestly think this is the time to think about stopping me from helping a friend because I have lipstick on my lip? Bitch, please. It's like, she's like, I gotta go help Wang, Wang, and she's like, hold on. Squeaky, squeaky.
But it's so funny because he doesn't even notice it, and he's trying to be a badass. And he's got
Yeah,
lipstick all over him.
I loved it. It was like
Yeah.
a comedy kind of mix, like we should talk about the comedy parts of the movie too. But
Oh my god!
I mean, that was integral to the movie. You know, is the comedy / action. I think
yeah. But he's totally down for anything.
he
that
is. He's the
needs.
most down motherfucker in the world.
And at the very end of it, he's like, nothing to triple.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it was nothing to double. He's like, you earned it, Jack. He's like, yeah, I know. He takes that shit and puts it in his saddlebag. He's
Yeah,
like,
he
oh,
does.
fuck you. He falls more into that Western,
Right.
off into the sunset, except for he didn't ride off into the sunset. He walked off into the fog.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
And they did a comic book series. It's called Big Trouble in Little China: The Return of Jack Burton, but it's set in 2020.
Oh, really?
And I kind of really want to get that because they've done some Buckaroo Banzai comics and everything
Right.
like that. But John Carpenter was involved with it. Everything. They also did a Jack Burton / Snake Plissken comic.
Like the comedy in that movie where he it's obviously threw that comedy in there on purpose because he's like, yeah, shoots like a cowboy shoots up in the air, and then that whole little area drops on his head, knocks him out for half the fight.
Right.
The sword being tossed, it was all done in comedic value. I think
Oh,
there's so
absolutely.
many times in that movie that they did that on purpose.
Well, whenever they're fighting, he's fighting. He's not fighting lightning, but whenever they're flying in the air and they're sword fighting,
it was
and
so
then
ridiculous.
he turns at one point, and then the other dude just jumps at him. He just throws the sword up to him, and he fucking flies out of the belly of that shit. You're
Right.
like, damn,
Yeah.
that was a good shot. Why didn't you do that at the beginning?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
If you're that talented, dude.
But what was awesome is he ran up the fucking the enclave
The
too.
entire way.
Yeah, went
Yeah.
all the way the fuck around and shit.
That was
Wayne
cool.
was a badass.
He
though.
was, but not at the beginning.
No. Well, those dudes,
I know,
he was afraid of those guys,
right.
I guess.
But even though he took on the gods of thunder
Yeah.
and everything.
Love.
Love.
It's
Thunder,
for love,
rain.
Mitchell.
I like how you
For
s-
love.
Well, and that's crazy that, I don't know, there's so many connections with everything, and people use so much of the folklore from this, and even the connections with the props.
Right.
John Carpenter's face belongs on the Mount Rushmore of movie directors. I'm no shit.
I thought you meant
disagree with
Mount
that.
Rushmore.
And I think especially at that time though, and I would say with that and before,
Yeah.
there was probably a good 10-year span there where people were really trying to do different things with movies, and sometimes it didn't work out financially.
Yeah.
But obviously, they made some really good movies, and on a lot of those movies, even the ones that didn't work out, led to bigger things down the road being able to be made.
Little
Yeah.
China's.
Yeah.
Yes,
People saw that. Robert Rodriguez saw that.
exactly.
Made these fucking movies. I mean,
For hopes that it catches on. And
even the dude that made Predator had
Predator?
Well, not the director, because that was John McTiernan, right?
Right.
That's
But
a
the
name.
writer of Predator, Shane Black, has made so many fucking badass movies.
Yeah.
But Shane Black did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. He did fucking the newer Predator. He's really good at the action shit, action and comedy and mixing it all together. But yet, everybody tanked this new fucking Predator movie. It was everything that I liked about the 80s. Yeah. It was for real. Everything that I liked about being a kid watching movies was the new Predator to me. So, we need to think of another topic for the next time, but I think this one, as a continuation, to really kind of wrap in that, wrap up that whole folklore of just, again, smart movies, because this is another smart movie that you really have to just enjoy and love it.
Right.
To really, you're not brought here to get it. You're
As
actually
they say in the movie,
as they
right?
say, you're not brought on this world to get it. You just fucking enjoy it.
Well, and it's smart in a different way.
Yeah.
It's not a cerebral movie by any
No.
means. It's not going to make you think beyond your,
It,
normal capacity, I guess.
We technically said it right before you started recording. About how it's not really one of those movies that you invest heavily into the story.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just along for the ride.
You're just enjoying a good movie.
And it's a great pace.
Yep.
There's no stopping it once it gets started.
No, action.
Exactly.
There's not a lot of movies that do that anymore.
And it's a great ride.
Yeah. Not a lot of movies that do that. The people aren't capturing that lightning in a bottle anymore. That's what that movie was. It was really capturing that crazy spirit of something that was totally fucking brand new and badass.
And just
To
off the
us,
wall.
you know?
Just
Especially
off the
for the
wall.
time.
Yeah.
Something you hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
And something that other people down the road have definitely gotten creative ideas from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to
All right,
end
guys.
the mighty podcast,
Bye, bitches.
everybody's got to say bye.
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 Bye, guys.
Wait. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.